Shabbat Shalom. On this very special Shabbat Bereshit, as we celebrate the wonder of this world, the first chapter of Genesis is beautiful, telling us about bringing forth day and night, the land and the seas, all living creatures, the vegetation and the seasons, and God saw that it was good. But I want to speak about a difficult topic. This remarkable beauty of God's creation is being harmed, and we have a very real obligation for tikkun olam, an obligation to literally repair the world. We have seen our human capacity to respond to almost impossible challenges. Sometimes the courageous response begins with one person. And I will tell you the story about Raphael Lemkin. He was a Polish Jew, born in 1900. As a young boy, he was horrified by learning about ethno-religious persecution, particularly the slaughter of more than 1 million Armenians during World War I. When Germany invaded Poland in 1939, he was able to flee to the United States. He tried unsuccessfully to find safety for his extended family, but 49 members of that family perished during the Holocaust. Lemkin was deeply troubled that there was no word to describe the killing of an entire group of people. There were words, of course, to describe the killing of an individual, homicide, suicide, fratricide, but there was no word for the intentional extermination of an entire people. He was a brilliant linguist, and he coined a new word. He took the Greek root genos, meaning tribe or group or people, and the Latin verb sedere, meaning to kill, and he put them together. Genocide, meaning to kill a people. And once Lemkin had the word, he wanted to prevent and punish this crime. He wrote the United Nations Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, ratified 76 years ago by the United Nations. That word was first used by prosecutor Ben Ferencz at the Nuremberg trial of 22 people. They were accused of murdering 1 million Jews. It was the biggest murder trial in world history ever. Nearly every defendant was found guilty. Lemkin devoted his life to trying to punish and prevent the crime of genocide. In 1970, Professor Arthur Galston, a biologist at Yale University, used a new word, ecocide. Ecocide means to destroy the environment. The root eco comes from the Greek oikos, meaning home, and side from that Latin verb sedere, meaning to kill. Galston used this word, ecocide, for the devastation that the United States caused by spraying 20 million gallons of Agent Orange in Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos during the Vietnam War. Agent Orange defoliated the jungle, and it caused cancers, neurological disease, and birth defects in at least 3 million people. Ecocide means killing one's home, and that's what we are doing. We see it every day. Droughts, floods, fires, hurricanes, melting ice caps and rising seas, dead coral reefs and extinct animals and botanical species. We are killing our home. The world described so beautifully in that first chapter of Genesis. Galston advocated for an international agreement to ban ecocide. He defined ecocide as devastation and destruction which aim at damaging or destroying the ecology of geographic areas to the detriment of all life, whether human, animal, or plant. The organization Stop Ecocide International works with leaders around the world to make ecocide an international crime, and this is now becoming a reality. The International Criminal Court in The Hague, the Netherlands, is the most important court in the world. It prosecutes accused perpetrators of genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and the crime of aggression. Ecocide would be added to those 4 crimes to become the 5th international human rights crime. On September 9th, last month, leaders of 3 island nations that are at risk of disappearing under rising seas submitted a proposal to the International Criminal Court to make ecocide the 5th crime. It's a simple process. The 125 state parties of the court would vote on resolutions and amendments. The United States is not a party to this court. The word ecocide is very rarely even heard in the United States. But countries around the world, including the whole European Parliament, have made ecocide a crime in their national statutes. But there must be a global commitment to solve our global crisis. On August 28th, 2023, about a year ago, the United Nations affirmed that children can sue nations over climate destruction. This followed a lawsuit brought by young people in the state of Montana against that state. We are seeing a patchwork of similar cases in the US, and now we need an international framework. Criminalizing ecocide internationally can deter malfeasance, can punish perpetrators, can highlight individuals and entities that are taking positive action, and can encourage activities to mitigate and prevent lower-level damage. Ecocide can also be prosecuted as an element of the other 4 human rights crimes. And more countries, including the United States, could add it to their own national laws. Support for an international ecocide law is widely endorsed by public figures, including Jane Goodall and Pope Francis. The human consequence of ecocide? Violence. Since 2014, the United States Department of Defense has been warning that the climate crisis is a threat multiplier of violence. In 2021, the Department of Defense warned, and I quote, "There is significant interaction between conflict and climate change." The United Nations has been warning us since 2004. The single greatest stressor is the lack of water. Expanding deserts will produce conflict and will displace 700 million people, 700 million people by 2050. Scarce water in Sudan's Darfur region led to the first genocide of the 21st century. Years of drought in Rwanda and drought-induced hunger fueled Rwanda's genocide in 1994. Women and girls, children, the sick, and the elderly are disproportionately affected, often left behind in a climate catastrophe. And climate refugees, as they are called, have no legal protection. They are not included in any of the 3 United Nations Refugee Conventions, and the United States has not ratified any of them. We must hold perpetrators responsible for killing our home, just like we can hold perpetrators responsible for genocide, for killing a people. The time is now to share this message, to encourage passage of the word ecocide at municipal, state, and organizational levels, and at our country, and for us to be inspired by advocates like Raphael Lemkin and Arthur Galston. Bereshit, in the beginning, God saw that it was good. The world, our home, is in our hands. Tikkun olam. It is now up to us to repair it. Shabbat shalom.